Hi, I'm Katrina, and this is Diet.com video, and I'm going to show you what I usually do for my stretching routine after about a 5-minute warm-up or after my cardio. So I'm going to start with my hamstrings. If you're standing, I like to lift up my toe and lean down. Stretch out that hamstring in the back. You should feel pull. You want to stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds on each muscle. And stretching prevents injury and it helps you get a better workout. So if you're going to do strength training, you definitely want to stretch before you do that. And then we'll go the other way. And you never want to bounce. That was then, this is now. No bouncing. So now we're going to get the inner thighs. What I want you to do is just lean to the side. You feel a good stretch on one side. Don't let that knee drop over your toe. And this leg is straight and your feet are facing forward. I'm just going to lean down, feel a good stretch, and hold it for a little longer than I did, 20 to 30 seconds. And after this one, I don't know why I did it because I already stretched out my hamstrings, but I always go down and touch the floor after. Probably because it feels good. Okay, and then I roll up, and I always go into quads. You want your knees in line with each other. Try not to bring your leg behind you and just push out your hip. So if you want more of a stretch, don't bring your leg behind you. Just push the hip out and hold that. And then we're going to switch. This is a lot of balance too. You can hold your ear if you want. I used to do that in gym class. And then one that requires balance that I do, if you're not laying, because you can do this laying on your back, but you cross over one leg. I'm going to go on an angle so you can see. And you cross over one leg right above your knee, and you sit back. And this stretches out the glute of the leg that's crossed over. And this is really good for the knee because when the glute gets tight, you can pull on the knee actually. I always go into the other side. And for all you ladies, our hips are faced like this, and our IT band gets really tight and it can pull in your knees. So if you run or you do the elliptical or lunges, you want to stretch out the IT band. So this is the easiest way that I figured out how to explain how to do it. You want to lean to the side, you're like, hey, and then you step over, you lean in until you feel a good stretch in that hip. It should feel good. And then you go the other way. Ooh, my hip cracked. And that always helps. Good. Okay, now I'm going to stretch out my shoulders so the rear delt is behind. You just cross over like this. And then you want to switch. And then the triceps are tricky. You always want to bring it above your head, behind your head. I'll show you. You try to reach. Most people can go a little further than me. And then you switch. And then to stretch out the upper back and a little bit of the lower back, you roll down kind of like a hamstring stretch and you grab the back of your calves. So I'm grabbing right here and you pull up so you get a good stretch in the upper traps and the lats, in the middle of the rhomboids. And you roll up. And then the last one that I don't know why I do this last, but it's the calves. So you put one foot behind you. And to get the upper calf, which is called the gastroc, don't need to know that, but you want your back leg straight and you push your heel into the floor. And then to get the lower calf, which is a soleus, which gets sore from running or cardio, you just bend that back knee a little bit and push your heel into the floor. If you have a wall, you can push into the wall too. And then you switch, so you keep it straight, push your heel in, and then you bend it. Good. And one important stretch that I always leave out, so I'm working on trying to include this, is your chest. This one always hurts, so I don't know why I don't do it, but you should. And I'll start doing it if you do. So you just bring your hands behind you. And this stretches out the biceps too. And that one helps bring the shoulders back, so you have good posture, because if the chest gets too tight, then your shoulders like this. So I promise I'll do that one from now on. So that's it. I'm Katrina, and thank you for joining me for my stretching routine.
Is it possible for an adult person to increase height? Answer, yes and no. There is not much scientific evidence to prove that an adult person can increase height. There is no miracle drug that can stimulate growth after puberty. However, some stretching exercises can help correct a person's posture. The exercises shown in this video can help you gain a few extra inches by improving your posture. You'll be surprised by how much of height is hidden behind your slouched back. You can, at any age, add an inch or two of height by simply improving your posture. Hanging. There's nothing complicated to hanging. You simply hang from a bar. This helps to lengthen and strengthen your spine. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The bar is pulling him up, while the gravity is pulling him down. This helps his spine to relax and elongate for a better posture. Touch toes. Standing with your hands high above your head, bend over and touch your toes. Keep your legs as straight as possible. You can bend your knees a little if you need to. Each repetition should last between 2 to 3 seconds. 2 straight legs up. Lying face down with your palms down on the sides, raise both your legs up together as high as possible. Keep your feet together. Each repetition should last 3 seconds. The downhill. Standing with your hands together and arms behind you, bend down at the waist as far as possible and slowly swing your arms as high as possible behind you. Each repetition should last between 4 to 6 seconds. In addition to these basic stretching exercises, jogging, swimming, and kickboxing can also help improve your posture and in turn add a few extra inches of hidden height. For more info on human height, please visit www.humanheightinfo.com.
hypnotized minds. UGK, 3-6 Mafia. Another classic, baby. Put some south in your mouth. Going down.
Sweet Jones. My bitch a choosy lover, never fuck without a rubber. Never in the sheets, like it on top of the cover. Money on the dresser, drive a compressor. Top notch hoes get the most, not the lesser. Trash like the fuck for $40 in the club. Fucking up the game, bitch, it gets no love. She be cross country, giving all that she got. 1,000 a pop, I'm pulling billions off the lot. I smashed up the gray one, bought me a red. Every time we hit the parking lot, we turn head. Some hoes wanna choose, but them bitches too scary. Your bitch chose me, you ain't a pimp, you a fairy.
Baby, you been rolling solo, time to get down with the team. The grass is greener on that other side, if you know what I mean. I show you shit you never seen, the 7 wonders of the world. And I can make you the 8th if you wanna be my girl. When I say my girl, I don't mean my woman, that ain't my style. Need a real street stalker to walk a green mile. We piling up the paper on the dining room table, cause you able to realize I'm the truth and not a fable. We rockin' Russian sable, keep that chiller on the rack. What I look like with some $1,000 shit up on my back. I'm a $1 million Mac, they need $1 billion bitch.
So this week we'll continue on working through that lower back pain issue that we started on last week. Last week we went through strengthening exercises. This week we're going to go through stretching. A lot of lower back pain actually comes from being very tight through the backside, hamstring and leg muscles. So the first exercise, we're going to start with the feet flat on the floor and the arms out to the side. We're just going to gently roll the knees from one side to the other. Now they don't need to go all the way to the ground. They need to go as far as you can feel a little bit of stretching through the lower back. Following on from that, you will now take them all the way across to the ground, lift the top knee up a little bit higher, and then look over the opposite shoulder. So you're stretching right across and through the back. The next exercise is stretching through the hamstring. So lift one leg straight up in the air, reach up and just grab a hold at the calf or behind the knee, wherever you can, and pull it in towards the body. If you want to increase this stretch, you just slowly lift the head and the chest up, coming up towards the knee. Again, don't try and overdo it. The lower back stays on the ground. So the final exercise, we take one leg and cross it over to the other. We sit up really tall through the back here, and then using that right arm, twist the body all the way around. So we're trying to stretch right down through the lower back here. Drop the chin down slightly, and what that does is it helps us lengthen through the spine as well. So we're getting back health all the way up through here with a nice stretch. What we've gone through there are some stretching exercises to try and loosen up the muscles, particularly around the hip, lower back and backside, because what this will do is loosen up those joints and hopefully free you up so that you won't get as much lower back pain. I'm Glenn Azar for Win News.
Hi, I'm Terry Lynn and I'm back on behalf of Expert Village. In this segment, we're going to be working on stretching our neck and our eyes. Now when you're stretching your neck, you want to be very, very gentle with it. The head weighs a lot and you don't want to be forcing anything or pushing anything because it actually could create a neck injury instead of helping to prevent one. So you want to start with gently tilting your head to the right and just letting the weight of tilting your head to the right and letting the weight of your head stretch the left side of your neck. You want to hold that for a good 8 to 10 seconds. Head back up and tilt to the other side. So you're really stretching this area of the neck. Make sure your shoulder is not up by your ear. Make sure it's down by your side. And then you want to tilt your head back. Again, just let the weight of your head stretch your neck. And then again forward as well. And you should feel a stretch all in here. And now we're going to do some head rolls. So again, nice and gently rolling your head in one direction and then in the opposite. Now it's very common when you're doing the neck rolls to hear some crackling or crunching. Those are just the tiny little neck muscles releasing and relaxing because this is where we carry a lot of tension. So it's very natural. Just keep rolling your neck, rolling your head and neck until the crackling stops. And now our eyes. I want you to focus on a spot straight ahead, and how they refer to it in the Shaolin book is to focus on something 10 miles into the future. So I want you to try to look as if you were looking at something 10 miles out. And then quickly dart your head to the left. Try to look as far as you can, back, forward, and to the right. These are very sharp, quick movements. And they help with eye flexibility and again stretching out your neck as well. So those are the flexibility tips and stretches for your eyes and neck.
Hi guys, welcome to WatchMojo.com. I'm your host Ashley, and today I'm going to be showing you 8 critical stretches before running. So the first stretch is pretty standard. You're going to be balancing on one leg, taking the other leg up, making sure the heel is touching the buttocks. That'll be stretching the hamstrings and the glutes. You'll be standing on one leg for 30 seconds and then switching to the other leg. Most people forget to stretch their upper body before running. So for this exercise, we're going to be loosening up our waistline, each side for 10 seconds. For this stretch, we're going to be tilting our head left to right, 10 reps, 5 each side. For this exercise, we're going to be twisting our waist side to side for a total of 10 reps. For this stretch, we're going to be sitting on the ground, extending one leg forward and bending the other leg inwards, holding that position for a total of 10 seconds and then repeating with the other leg. For this stretch, we're going to be sitting on the ground, extending both legs together, leaning over and trying to touch your toes for a total of 10 seconds. This stretch is called the Indian position. We're going to be folding both legs inwards for a total of 30 seconds. For this stretch, you're going to be standing upright, making sure that your feet are together, bending over as far as you can, trying to touch your fingers to your toes for a total of 15 seconds. So there you have it. These are 8 stretches that are necessary before running to prevent you from pulling any muscles. So enjoy your workout.
If you stretch on a daily basis, even for 10 or 15 minutes, the muscles learn to adapt to that particular movement, and they learn how to relax. We have a stretch reflex that holds us back from stretching too far. If we go too far in the stretch, all of a sudden that stretch reflex says, uh-oh, that hurts, don't do that. You want to go to the point where you have a comfortable stretch, but not a painful stretch. I have 6 top stretches that I'd like to show you today that you can incorporate into your routine, and I've got Ben, my model here, who's going to give us the first demonstration. This first one's called a lying leg crossover, and for most of us, we have a lot of tightness all the way through our low back and our hips and our glutes, and this really targets your glute muscles, and there's several different permutations from that particular stretch. So I'm going to have Ben start on his back here and just come into the lying leg crossover. It's in a sit-up position, and I'm just going to have Ben bring his right leg over the top. Now in this first movement, all we're going to do is just elevate his down leg, and that just cues your glutes initially. So what we're feeling right now is that we can feel that glute, and Ben, you can kind of point to the spot where you feel a little bit of tension just right in the glute right there. Now we can add to that load by putting his arm on the inside of his knee and actually pushing away and simultaneously pulling up with this hand. And the idea in doing this stretching is to stretch the muscle in slightly different planes. So we can push away. We can also change the position by bringing the hand around to the outside of the knee and pulling the knee towards the inside of the chest as if a crossover move. We can add to that by extending your upper leg straight up, and we get a little different stretch and a different load. The second stretch is the hip flexor stretch, and our hip flexors are located in this region. When we stretch our hip flexors, we have to think, well, what's the purpose of doing that? Well, when you're running, you're obviously engaging your hip flexors every time your knee comes up on each stride. In a cycling position, your hip flexors are engaged all the time, and it's a very, very tight muscles. So quite often I see people do this incorrectly. We want to set this hip flexor stretch by dropping the down knee at an angle at about 110 degrees at the hip. And when we do this, we don't want to drag that knee back too far, nor arch our back. So Ben, I'm going to ask you just to tuck your pelvis underneath
And as soon as we do that and we push down on that knee and actually push down with a forward heel, we're going to feel that hip flexor begin to stretch just by doing this particular movement. Now we can add to the stretch by elongating the arm on the down leg. So just raise your arm overhead and we can initiate that stretch and get a little greater stretch through that hip flexor. And finally, just give a little bit of lean forward, about 1 inch or 2 inches stop. That's good right there. And now we have a really perfect stretch for that hip flexor. This third stretch is the perfect piriformis hip glute stretch. Big mouthful, and it can be done a lot easier than trying to say it. The starting position for this stretch, I have Ben with his hands directly in front of his shoulders, just outside shoulder width, arms straight, chest real high and chin high looking forward. Try not to arch the lower back. The heel actually is right in the crotch, and we're going to move that heel underneath our quad on the opposite leg in just a second. So on the first part of the stretch, you can actually push down on the opposite side as if pushing down with his hips, and you can actually get a little bit of hip flexor stretch to initiate that. The back leg is extended straight out behind with the toes pointed. Now I'm going to have you move your heel underneath your quad, Ben. Now as we do this, I'm going to gradually have him begin to rotate to this outer side to bring his glute down towards the floor. So he's going to slowly rotate towards me, keep his arms pretty straight as he's doing this, bring his glute all the way down to the floor, and then just rotate back up 2 or 3 inches. So it's a very slow pulse where you're actually stretching it through that 2 or 3 inch range, where you can feel the muscles around your hip and that ball joint of your hip begin to stretch and also relax. This fourth stretch is a partner hamstring stretch. You can also do this by yourself if you have a large towel or a belt by looping it around your heel, and I'll show you how it's done. I've got Mel on the ground here, and Ben's going to stretch her. When we start this stretch, you want to make sure that to take the tension off your low back, you start with a bent knee position. You can gradually extend your down leg, but not to full extension when you're doing this stretch. So we're going to have Mel lift up her right leg, and Ben, I'd like you to grab around her heel cup, and also to put your hand on top of her foot so that her ankle's in a dorsiflex position. Now, when we're in this stretch, ideally we want Mel's leg to be nice and straight, and we can pulse this stretch, so we can just ease up just a little bit on it and allow her to come back, and then go forward again, and we'll see if we can increase her range of motion. Go ahead and push, Mel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax, and Ben, you see if we can just increase that range, and I can see it fairly well. We've gone to just shy of 90, now to about 110, and you're starting to wiggle a little bit, so we're probably at the point where you can feel a fair amount of discomfort, but it doesn't hurt. This fifth stretch is a partner quad stretch, and quite often you see athletes out on the track or before their run or after their run stretching their quad like this, and I'm going to use Mel as my support here, reaching up, grabbing their leg, and pulling their leg up. Well, this stretch is primarily the lower part of your quad, but it doesn't put your hip in hip extension. So when we set this position up, the first thing we want to do is to make sure Ben pushes his hips forward slightly, okay, tucks his pelvis underneath without arching his back. The second thing is that Mel has her hand cupped underneath Ben's knee and also her hand on his toes. We pull back into hip extension, so we move Ben's leg back to begin with without pulling up on the foot. Now in the second phase on this, we want to make sure that the knees are pointed straight down. We don't want the knee to flare out. Mel's applying pressure with the hand. We lift up and slowly push the heel in towards the butt, and ideally, if you're very flexible in a hip extension position, we can bring that heel all the way to touch the butt. This last stretch is called the shoulder back lat pec stretch. Now if you can say that, you're going to do it well. It hits the shoulder muscle, the lats, which are down the side, the pecs, which are in front, and also the back. So it's a partner stretch, and it's a great stretch. You're really going to feel this nicely all the way through those muscles, and it'll give you a nice big stretch through your chest, which will help you particularly on the bike and running and for your freestyle in the water. So Mel, go ahead and just lightly interlace your fingers or overlay them. Put them behind your neck, and you don't want to pull forward on your neck at all. You want to make sure that she's looking forward. Ben, you go ahead and hook up. We're going to go over the top of her arms, around the armpits, and then just have Ben interlace his fingers behind. The first part of this stretch is to pull back gently on her elbows, all right? And go ahead and bend, pull back lightly. And as she's doing this, she's going to begin to feel a stretch through her lats and also her pecs and her shoulders when she's doing this. Now the second part, we can ease up just a little bit, and we're going to put Mel on the rack and just lift straight up now. There we go. And Ben, you can keep coming up. All right. And go ahead and ease up again, but don't let go. Now this last one, we're just going to try to incorporate a slight half twist on this. So we're going to pull up on the left side and let the right side drop down. So go ahead and just twist, and we're pulling up, and we're going to feel it stretch all the way down. In fact, you're going to feel it stretch all the way down to your hip joint, and we'll go to the other side. And again, when we're doing these stretches, ideally if we can do each phase about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and not as quickly as we're running through these. All 6 of these stretches can be incorporated into your routine, either before or after your sessions, or even at night if you have time where you're relaxing. Just to put in these 6 stretches, you're going to find that your range of motion is going to be enhanced and hopefully prevent some injuries down the road.